Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Hello there.
This is Seeking Media Productions. And we're about to talk about Black Panther.
Well, I guess a lot of people was looking forward to this film.
Yeah, it's not like it was the most anticipated film of 2018. Almost.
Gotta admit, Black Panther was definitely lit.
It was. Like, oh my god, like if don't worry people, if there was not a black actor in this movie, you still had Luke Cage you could look at because
not to mention, I'm sorry, because of the success this movie's building up to, you damn be sure that there's going to be every black person in too.
Yeah. So Black Panther, it is still set in the cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this actually plays more of a standalone feature.
Yeah, this is definitely his own story.
And I guess the only movie that you need to watch before this will be Civil War.
Yeah, it gives you context.
But even then, it catches you up very quickly.
Yeah, it really do.
Well, about Black Panther, I guess it was like it was a good mix between Lion King with people.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly where I would actually put this at. I mean, out of all the Marvel films, this one does a good job at actually balancing everybody that's involved in the project. I mean, every actor that you get to see in this movie, their significance is felt.
Yes, very rarely too. When you got such a big cast.
Mm-hmm.
And the story that follows Black Panther is him coming back to Wakanda. And thankfully, it's a advanced society that it is in comic books.
Thankfully.
And he's basically coming to his own as a king.
Mm-hmm.
And like the comic books, he goes through the ritual, eat that herb.
And that is it. I actually want one now. I mean, if I can get some cool ass Panther powers, me and my vegetables, sign me up.
Yeah. And from there on, it takes on, like, it utilizes the superhero genre, but still utilizing similar tropes that comes with movies that deal with royalty.
It's the typical ascension story for a king. I mean, you have a young guy whose father or a young woman whose father dies or mother, whatever, in royalty, and they have to ascend to get to the heights that their parents were. Yeah, ascension. But yeah, it's this typical by the numbers royalty story, but it's done well enough that that you can follow it easily and you'll enjoy it.
And I think what really does this movie service is the fact that it does address a lot of relatable themes. And, something that's universal and still going on today.
Now, let's be honest. This a lot of people was actually worried that this was going to take it into a territory that would have been uncomfortable for certain other viewers, and let me assure you right now that yes, even though certain issues are brought up, it's done tastefully and it's not shoved down your throat. I mean, it's made apparent, but they don't make that the essential reason why you're there. You're there to enjoy a character being realized.
And I feel as though a lot of how the story is structured and grounded does fall upon Ryan Coogler's director. You know, I've been following this guy since he started with Fruitvale Station. Creed is still like one of my favorite films to come from him. It's
actually one of my favorite films in the actual Rocky genre. It's actually moved
one of my favorite films this decade.
True.
And even with that, he still implemented some form of relatable grounding aspect with the loss of fatherhood from that one. And it's actually very carries on too with this one.
It does. You could definitely feel the family aspect, and especially the father-son bonding thing that I feel as though a lot of stories are missing these days because they focus so much on the broken family aspect that they don't focus on the togetherness. And this film does a really good job at emphasizing how important family is and tradition.
Yes. That being so, it is like the characters that bring this whole story together.
Chadwick Boseman did a phenomenal job as Black Panther T'Challa. He was awesome.
Yes, he's so stoic, but yet proud. I could lead. Well, he can lead.
Yeah, I could believe him as being a leader. I could definitely. He's one of yet again. Marvel's done something very Marvel Disney. I would say, Marvel Disney. The cinematic universe has done something very special with this particular character. They haven't necessarily done with the other Avengers. That they actually made a character that tends to learn and wants to grow as a hero. I'm not saying that the other ones don't have those moments, but not nearly as prevalent as it is with T'Challa as Black Panther. He truly wants to be a better person, and he's not weighing himself down by the burdens that somebody else has brought before him, or falling in his own mech and his problems, and going back over them and putting himself down. He actually wants to lift himself up, and in return help bring somebody else up with him.
It's very true said about Black Panther, and Black Panther holds a lot of importance to a lot of people, especially nowadays, and thankfully they're able to do this character properly and inspiring some form of hope in this community. Mm-hmm. And with community, I'm so glad they were able to establish and adapt the full female force.
Oh yes,
that supports them. You have his mother, played by the ever talented Angela Bassett, who I have to say, Halle Berry, they miscast Thor.
Yeah, they really did. Oh my god, I was like, why have I not seen her play Storm? But you know what? That's cool. We got to see her in this film, and she rocked it.
You have Shuri, a standout character.
Definitely. I feel as though the Science Bros got a new addition coming on here.
Sister.
There you go.
And of course, the Dora Milaje, special body corps. Like the body force.
They were like the special force.
Secret Service.
Yeah, Secret Service.
Yes, and main one played by Denai Guerrero from Walking Dead fame.
I loved her on that show, and she does a damn good job emphasizing her character in this film. She's actually one of the cooler parts to it, I would say.
And not to forget Lupita Nyong'o.
Of course.
I'm so glad I'm able to see her in something that's like not like a depressing type of role.
Yeah, no, she has a purpose in this movie. She's not some throwaway damsel distress. No, she does. She gets work done. She gets stuff done.
Yes, she does, actually. I was so surprised at how they were to go with her character.
Thank you.
But let's talk about one of the major aspects of the characters, and that's Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan.
Here, yet again, I feel as though this is going to be a bit of a theme right now that Marvel is reinventing with how they want to tell stories. Especially, I feel as though it was perfect for them to do it for this particular film, for this character, Black Panther, because the character of Killmonger was actually one of their best adaptations of actually bringing a villain to the screen, or at least to the cinematic universe. So far, Marvel's had all these villains that they introduced, big name villains, and have done poorly at adapting them. You've had you had Malekith in the Thor movies, which would have been a fun character to work with, and you made him bland.
A lot of the villains were bland.
A lot of them. I mean, you only had Loki, and in my opinion, even though everybody wants to go raving wild for Loki, in my opinion, they still did that character disjustice because he's not nearly as much as a threat as he should be. Everybody wants to say that Thor Ragnarok was great, and it is at some parts, but in my opinion, it's still not that great.
Yeah. But with Killmonger, unfortunately for him, this character, he brings a lot was best about the movie, but also was not so great about the movie. Mm-hmm. Man, because how sparingly used he's in this movie. Like, he's only in it for the. You don't get enough of him. Plot.
No, you get a sense of what the character is going for. He's, typical in the aspect that he's this guy who comes from a similar background to T'Challa, and it's like I would say the Prince and the Pauper kind of situation where you get someone who lives in the downtrodden parts of the world and someone who lives in the higher ups, and then it's
like Lion King.
Yeah, pretty much.
In fact, unfortunately for
there's a lot of parallels between the two.
Unfortunately for this character and how they plot the movie, it just brings it down because it just falls into very cliched material.
I'm not want to say that this totally brings down the character of Killmonger, because again, like I said,
upon those themes that's actually relevant.
Really, he really does. And I found myself throughout this film feeling as though I don't hate this guy, at least not that much. Don't get me wrong, he's a terrorist, he's an extremist, but you do get a sense for where he's coming from, because he's emphasizing the faults of Wakanda, the faults of the world.
Yes.
And he's a byproduct of this.
Unfortunately so. But unfortunately we can't like be patting everybody on the back for Marvel Disney. We have to address what's going on and what's the issues within this film. Because it's not really perfect.
So number one, I will say definitely that there wasn't enough Killmonger in it, and that the story itself was still a little bit too generic for what it should have been. It's a great story and a great set of characters, but it's too generic for what it should have been. But the biggest problem...
Ooh, it's something that really irritated me in this film. And unfortunately, because of this, I find myself cringeworthy when they... every time they show something of it. It's the production of it.
Yeah, the use of CGI in this film is incredibly poor for what it should have been as a Marvel movie.
It made Wakanda look fake.
It really did. There's so many, and not just Wakanda, there was action scenes, especially in the last big comedic scenes.
It's too reliant on CGI. It's too obvious.
For something that didn't really need it.
Like, the movie cost $200 million.
How could you mess this up from what it should have been? I mean, you literally, there was parts where it literally looked like a friggin' cartoon. There was no...
It looked like the Flash
television series.
On the CW on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really saying enough. It's on network television, people.
Thank you.
And the production is so lopsided. Like, you have, like, they spent a lot of money on the music.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Now, that was one of the high points in this film. The music was on top. It was on point. Yeah, it really was. Yeah, the score and the soundtrack was really
Ryan
great.
Coogler was lucky enough to bring over his more recurring partners. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name, but he did work on Creed. I love the score from Creed. And the score is a mixture between Lion King, Creed, and also Coming to America.
Yeah, I found myself rocking out to that. I was like, yeah, this was perfect for this.
But the music it's like, it helps a lot when it elevates the material.
It does.
The visual.
I feel like that was probably actually one of the reasons why the CGI didn't necessarily take too much from it. I still felt that there was a big part missing, but that music did, having that score and the soundtrack did elevate it. So I hope that Marvel goes forward taking this into mind, that you need a great soundtrack, a great score to your film that's memorable to elevate your material. But that alone...
That's not only the case with the visual effects. You also have to deal with the CGI. A lot of people are saying this movie looks beautiful and it has good cinematography.
I'm sorry, and it really doesn't. It looks flat. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry to say, but it does look flat. And going into that emphasis, there are certain films that does a phenomenal job at doing this, to the point that there are certain scenes in the film that are like worthy enough to be put on a poster or a painting. And like them or hate them, I don't want to necessarily bring out the fire and the pitchforks or anything, but DC does a good job doing that, where you have certain scenes that they can do that with. You had that with Wonder Woman, you definitely had that, and Man of Steel. But, not necessarily going back and forth with DC and Marvel. Marvel, too, had, ironically enough, even though I don't like to say it, and I still...
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok had certain scenes that were... Specifically that Valkyrie scene where they was talking, when it was going head to head against Hela.
The first when they're telling the story behind it.
Yeah, those were scenes that were worthy enough to be said, yeah, that's great, cinematography.
Thor has it finally awakens his true potential.
Those were really cool
but those
too.
Like frame shots, but then once it breaks away from that, it's a very muddy, generic, flat material.
Unfortunately enough, Black Panther, in my opinion, just didn't have that.
Like, cinematography is supposed to bring out depth. It's supposed to utilize the background and the foreground, make the image do not look as 2D as it is. Make it feel like it's coming out with you alive. The lighting in here is very flat, vanilla. It's only there just to just show the shine on the characters, saying that you can see the characters, but it just does a really good job. In the background, you can really tell it's a green screen or blue screen. I've seen the behind the scenes there. I know what I'm talking about. They did not look. This was shot mainly in Atlanta. They should have went to Africa in some areas to show.
And there's no excuse why they couldn't have done that. I mean, you're Disney. You got the funding. Yes. You've proved it more than times again. I don't know what was the disconnect between this film and the other films, but come on now. You couldn't tell me you couldn't take a few trips over to Africa, get some scenery, and take that back and put that into the film.
Or just shot there.
I mean, yeah, or just shot. I mean, yeah.
The end South Korea sequence was just the highlight of the film.
Exactly.
Why did you do it in Africa? But we don't want to bring down this film too much on the production because it does tell at least a good solid story.
It does. It really does.
In which, like I just said, the verdict, I do believe, despite its shortcomings, within our 6-figure scale, it is still a really good movie. Mm-hmm. There are aspects that it could have been great and even amazing if they worked on the Killmonger aspect
a little bit further and emphasizing what they should have did with cinematography and the production value. That could have really elevated this movie to heights they could have.
And actually just explore Wakanda a lot more because
because that was another thing. I wanted more Wakanda. Yes. I wanted more of what you showed. Some aspects I was really interested. This movie could have really benefited from having a little bit longer runtime. Yes. I was willing to sit there, and I'm pretty sure anybody else in that theater was willing to sit there. Anybody who's going to go watch this film, if you love the really good storytelling and character development and cinematography and production value, you're going to be willing to sit your butt down for a little extra more minutes and enjoy it. But as it is, I agree with you. This is a really good film. I wholeheartedly endorse that people should go ahead and watch this film, but definitely don't necessarily play too much into the hype that, have your own opinions and break into it. But definitely this was a film that was good, but it could have even been better, and I hope they go forward into the sequels, learning from their mistakes and learning from what they've done right and make it better.
And as always, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been a Siki Media Productions.
See you guys.